what will I do?
The Roaring Twenties. When we think of the Roaring Twenties, we think of well, that really. We think of people that are just living this strange high life. We think of the Great Gatsby, where people don't have any concept of reality, and then the crash. That's not exactly true. We are left now with the Roaring Twenties. They cut all of the spending. They not only reduce taxes, but he reduces the spending by at least half. Does he not?
Roughly.
Roughly, about half.
And he reduces the national debt.
Okay. So he is totally transforming America back to where, closer to where our founders.
Fiscal solvency and getting out of the way so that the government can, that the economy can grow.
All right. Now, we were talking about how this transformed. You don't have to think about the Great Gatsby. Let's think about how the lives of average Americans changed. And the lives of average Americans, 1920, nobody really has a car. By the time he leaves office, 3 times the amount of people, there are 3 times the amount of cars on the road, which was an expensive item. It's not that the price of cars necessarily just came just dropping through the floor in price, but it was that people made money. More money, right?
Right.
Right.
Tell me what happened to incomes. Tell me what did the average person in the 1920s?
Well, you hear a lot about incomes. Real incomes went up, and what's very interesting about the 20s is they didn't have inflation. They had low unemployment. The unemployment politely stayed below 5% in Coolidge's time. It was in the 3s in Coolidge's time, and yet there was no inflation to speak of. And nowadays economists say that's impossible, right? You hear, oh, the economy will heat up and so on. So it was a golden time when people earned more and their money was worth more. And in addition to the cars, their houses were electrified. So that meant for women especially, housework changed. Women could turn to other things. They didn't have to rub washboards all day. We're doing the cartoon Coolidge right now, and we have lots of drawings of women rubbing washboards, and the drudgery of the day that they experienced, hours and hours to bake, to iron, that ended with the appliance came into the home, and that was Coolidge.
Which is a very big deal, and that led really to some of this euphoria of, I mean, this was the first time that anyone in the history of the world that was an average person was able to have real leisure time.
They could, and radio comes in, the movies are more and more popular. The average work week decreases by 4%, which when people are working 6 days a week and they're trying to get that down, that's a good thing as opposed to it being down 4 or 10% in 2010. And the funding and things which Coolidge talks about, we are not just having wealth for wealth. We want to have wealth for education, for charity, for culture. These are the things which really speak to civilization.
Encouraging that to happen
at the state level.
At the state level.
Which is education spending increases in the 1920s 4 times. Now, there's no federal money. There's no genius on the Potomac doing this. It's the people in school districts and at the state level doing it, and they're getting the job done in a wonderful way, and illiteracy falls by half in that decade.
Okay.